Last week, I met someone at a networking event who seemed really great. She had great energy, was perfect for what some of my clients might need, and we had a good conversation. She handed me her business card and said, "Go check out my website." And so I did. And within 15 seconds, I kind of lost interest. And it got me thinking, this would make a really good episode. I want to talk about the business card handoff test to find out if your website is ready for this networking season. So let's get into it. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to the show. I am so happy that you've joined me. We are in the midst of fall. Kids are back in school. We're back to our normal routines. And I just went to a networking event, which I know a lot of you probably are because we're all energized with this fall energy and we're getting out there and talking to people. And I shared with you my story about exchanging business cards and what happened when I went to that person's website. Today's episode is inspired by that. And before I get started, quick intro if we haven't already met. My name is Jenny B, and I am the owner and creative director of Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio, and my passion is helping small business owners just like you design beautiful, but more importantly, strategic websites that truly attract your ideal clients and make you money. And this story, of course, I'm a website designer and I have higher hopes when I go to someone's website than the average person. But I'm going to share with you some things that are probably going through your potential referral partner's mind when they go to your website after going to a networking event. Let's talk about this, the networking journey. What happens? You go to these events, you meet wonderful people, you have great conversation, you are getting to know that person's personality. After the event, most likely you head back to your desk, you empty your pockets, you get all those business cards, and you look at the card and say, first of all, can I read the URL? Is there a website on this business card? That's problem number one. And maybe they have a QR code. That's another way to get to a website. And if they do, the person is thinking about the conversations that they had at the event when they met you. They're thinking about your personality, the things that you said, and something that maybe sparked you had a common interest. Maybe you talked about clients that you work with, you have a similar audience, and they are starting to think about the why they wanted to connect with you. Either they might need your help, maybe they have clients who need your help, maybe they have a referral partner that they want to connect you to. There's a reason why this person wants to follow up with you. And this is really where the window of time where they're going to actually reach out and follow up after the event happens. So they sit down at their computer, they've got their URL, they type it online, and they go to your website. And the first thing they want to see is if your website matches the you that they met in person. And I talk about this all the time when I share about bringing your personality to life online. I'm a firm believer that your website should feel and be like you are and your essence is in person. There's nothing worse than meeting someone in person and they're kind and warm and caring and have so many connections for you, or they might be a good person to work with. And then you go to their website and it's stuffy and corporate and it has hard to understand language and things like that. There is that disconnect. The first thing that the person wants to see is make sure that the you online matches the you that they met in person. This is a really critical moment, and I would say these first 3 seconds determine everything from this point forward. So perhaps let's talk a little bit about the psychology behind the people that you meet in networking events and what they're looking for when they come to your website. The thing is that the trust has been already established. This is an important piece because when someone comes to your website from Google, there is no trust. But this person met you in person, in real life. They know you as a person. And now they need to trust you as a professional. And actually, the bar is higher because there are these set of expectations that are already in place. And this personal recommendation or this trust that they have in you actually creates more pressure for your website to deliver. They're not looking for information when they go to your website. They're looking for validation. They want confirmation that you're as good as you seem in person. And they're not learning about you because they learned about you when you met in person. You had that conversation. They're verifying everything that you told them. And I think that what matters more than looking at your services and getting your features that you have about your different products, your different services, what matters more in this case is social proof. People want to go to your website and see that you have social proof there. You have videos, you have testimonials from clients, from referral partners who have worked with you and have had success with you. That is leading to the validation. They're not trying to get information, they want validation. Plus, they also want to see what you've been working on recently. Maybe you have some recent case studies there. Hopefully, your testimonials are recent. Something that shows that you are still in business and you are still doing things every year versus reading a list of all your achievements over the year. It's almost like they want to see that, yes, I met this person. They told me that they're a consultant and that they've been in business for 15 years. Okay, great. When they go to your website, they want to see testimonials that show other people have had success with you and that you have recent case studies, recent stories that show that you are still doing this business and you are still having success with it. And they're also in the referability mindset. It's not just about finding clients when you go to a networking event. It's about finding people who serve similar clients as you do, that could be good referral partners. And when that person goes to your website, they're thinking, can I recommend this person? Your website needs to help explain what you do so that they can get an idea of, okay, this is how I'm going to share information about Jenny when I connect her with someone that could be a good referral partner. You need to have that clear messaging that someone can get the essence of who you help immediately. And this referral partner wants to feel good and feel smart for connecting you with others. And your website needs to get this across. So how does your website do this? What is your networking friend actually checking when they go to your website? Here's what they're looking at. The first thing they're looking at is that homepage hero, that landing. I typically talk about how this is one of the most important pieces of a website. This hero, does this match the person that I just met at the event? Then they're most likely going to your services page. Is this what we talked about? Is this what you told me that you worked with clients on when we met in person? And think about this. If you told someone that you work with your health coach, you work with menopausal women, but then when they go to your website and they find out that you are offering fitness services or you work with a totally different audience, maybe you haven't updated your services pages recently and you told someone in person something different that's on your website. There needs to be that congruency and make sure that it works and that it is up to date. Then they're looking for the testimonials, the portfolio, validation, making sure that you're still doing what you said you were doing. They might go to your About page if they want to immediately refer you to grab a little snippet, perhaps to do a quick introduction about who you are. And usually your About page has that information about you. And then finally, the contact page. If they want to stay connected, maybe your socials are on there, if you have an email address over there, or if they want to send someone to refer to you to connect you with that contact page. What they usually don't go to are blog posts. Unless you had a very specific conversation and you said, I've got a blog post about that topic, most likely they're not going to go read your blog post. They're not here to look for information. They're here to look for validation. And what makes them want to refer you or want to connect you with potential clients is that Your website shows next steps that match your conversation, that you have pricing transparency, you share your rates. Critical to share at least your starting rate so that people can get a sense of what the investment is going to look like to work with you. Because if you're referring someone and they might not have the same investment range as what you are offering, then it's not going to be a good fit. They also want to make sure that the photos that you have on your website look like you. And they look like the you that they just met at the networking event, not the you of 4 years ago or the you that is completely different. Photos that look like you. And then finally, an easy way to reconnect, either a contact form, a calendar link, or an email address if they need to get in touch. That's what makes people actually say, okay, this makes sense. I want to take the next step and have a relationship, a referral relationship, or be a client with this person. Now, some of the disconnects, the networking to website disconnects. The first is the personality disconnect. You meet that person and they're warm and engaging, and then you go to their website and it's cold and stuffy. That's a disconnect. You may have had a conversation and it was super conversational. You're just meeting someone in person. You have that voice. It's your voice, right? And they're connecting with that. And they go to your website and there's this stuffy copy online full of formal jargon and doesn't make sense. There's a disconnect there. You meet them in person, you have on your networking outfit, and it's approachable and friendly and warm. And they come to your website, and then you've got this corporate headshot that's really rough around the edges, and it's off-putting. And finally, you're excited about your work. You can't wait to tell another person about your coaching services. But then when they get to your website, they go to your services page and you've got boring descriptions there or something that's really not captivating. There's a disconnect right there. That's the first one, the personality split. In my opinion, I think that this is one of the biggest issues that most websites have. And this is one of the superpowers that I like to share, is bringing that personality to life online with your website. Now, the second disconnect is the services mismatch. You're talking about that new offer that you have in person because maybe you created it last week. But when someone goes to your website, they can't find anything about it on your services page because you haven't updated it. Or maybe you talked about a specific expertise, and when they go to that page, it's just really generic and it has everything under the sun and it's not specific. Finally, if they go there and you've discussed, maybe you have a signature approach, like I have a signature 4-week website building approach. When you go to my website, you don't read that. You're just getting cookie cutter industry language. There's a disconnect in your services there. That would be the services disconnect. Then there's that visual disconnect, the imagery that you have on your website, the headshot from 3 years ago that doesn't match who you are today. I see this a lot. People take a beautiful headshot from 10 years ago and you don't look anything like you used to. You know, we age, we change over time, and I think that's beautiful and wonderful. But the person is hesitant to update their headshot from many years ago. Well, when someone meets you in person, they're going to see the you of today. But when they go to your website and they see the you of 10 years ago, it makes someone stop and think and say, they haven't updated their photo. What else haven't they updated? And you want your professional photos to reflect your personality, not just standing against a wall with the white background with your arms crossed, but showing you out doing what you do. For me, I'm in front of my computer or I'm holding an iPad drawing my wireframes for my websites. Whatever you do, showing you out in the world, doing what you do best. And then brand colors. And this matters a lot because if you're meeting someone and they feel personable and you go to their website and it feels corporate, there's a disconnect. This is very much like the personality. It pertains to that as well. Or if you meet someone and they seem very buttoned up and corporate, and then you go to their website and they've got hot pinks everywhere, there's a disconnect there as well. That visual disconnect plays a piece. And then finally, the action that you want someone to take. When they're going to your website, If there's no clear next step after they're impressed, say you did all these visuals right, you got the personality on there, but there's no call to action. The person doesn't know what to do. That's confusing. Same thing goes within there's multiple calls to action. That is confusing as well. And if you have a contact form that when someone fills it out, you never get the information, that's also something that could be confusing. Be sure to check that contact form to make sure it's actually working. So that would be the common website disconnect issues that I see a lot of times happening after a networking meeting. Now, probably the reason why you went to this networking event is that you were looking for some referral partners. That's typically why I like to go to events, to meet people who have and do like-minded things and people who I feel comfortable referring my clients to. And for someone to feel comfortable referring you, they need to easily explain what you do in one sentence. They need to know that your pricing, your investment matches the network that they want to connect you with, and that your website feels professional enough for your contacts. Those are the three things that someone needs to feel comfortable when referring you. And the elements on your website that help boost this are your client logos. Any client logos that they recognize, if they go to your website and say, oh, yeah, I worked with this company, I see, and Jenny has worked with them too, that is something that boosts confidence. Testimonials from similar businesses and clear processes, the explanation of how you do things. And of course, an easy way for referrals to get in touch. And what doesn't work is outdated design on your website that looks amateur, unclear messaging, no social proof, no pricing, or pricing that seems too low. And too low means you question quality. And finally, a website's difficult to navigate, and the user experience is utmost importance when it comes to people, whether they're visitors looking to hire you as a client or referral partners. They need to be able to get around your website easily. So that is kind of my networking recap. And I thought I'd put together a checklist for you on what you can do this week or this month as you are kind of getting into the heart of networking season for this fall before we all start winding down for the holiday season. And you can do this at any point in time. But I thought that this would be a nice time to look at everything. The first thing you can look at is check your homepage hero. Make sure that section matches your elevator pitch, what you're telling people when you meet them in those networking meetings. And if you have a headshot and it is outdated, perhaps put that on the things to do. Update that headshot and your brand pictures to match how you actually look and feel today out in the real world. Think about your client work and your testimonials. Do you have any new testimonials you can pop on there or any new portfolio items that you can add? Those are some things that you can think about immediately to do this week. And most importantly would be your homepage hero. Then you can look at your messaging and put this on your to-do list. Look at your services pages. Think about any conversations you've had at networking events. Or is what you're telling people out there in the world what your services page actually says? Same thing about your bio. If you're introducing yourself, telling people about you, and then you go to your about page on your website and it doesn't match, it might be time to update that about page. And if people are asking you a lot of questions at these networking events, write them down and add them to your FAQ page because these are great questions that people are wondering, and I'm sure others are wondering them as well. And then finally, a really neat idea that you could add to your website, and this is something that is optional, but I really love this idea, is to create a page on your website, something like just met me at a networking event, and put some of your most important links on that page. You could add a calendar booking link on that page to have an additional coffee chat with that person. You could create some referral-friendly sharing tools, maybe a one-sentence blurb about you or your services, or an introduction for how someone can introduce you to someone. Maybe you have a contact form, or maybe there is a special that you shared about when you met them in person. But think about, is there a way that you could create a page on your website, a Just Met Me page, that has that information that a referral might be looking for? Similar to what you would create for your links page or your Instagram page. When I was doing a stint over on Threads, I had a Threads landing page. I called them my Threads. And anyone who came to me from that platform would get onto this page, and I had some specials for my Threads and information that they might like because I knew who they were and it was a specific audience. Consider creating a page on your website just for your people that you meet at networking events. So those were my tips for what you can think about when someone comes to your website after a networking meeting. And I am a firm believer, like I shared before, that your website is the best asset that your business has, and it can do so many things for you. And if you feel like your website isn't doing all the things, doesn't reflect your personality, or is just not sharing information that people need to know to either work with you or refer you, then I would love to help. You can book your free complimentary call in the show notes and let's chat about how I can best support you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.